And we're live once again. Boy, do we have quite the show tonight. I swear to God, the show.
It's like a drug addiction, man. You know, every time we think like, oh, that's it, that's the end of it, it just keeps on giving.
It really does. So, if you don't know, we have been watching this little girl anime on Netflix, Glitter Force, for, I want to say, about a month now.
Yeah.
Before you comment that we have no lives, we have a good explanation for this. This show, like, we thought it would just start out like a typical little girl anime, and to the point, it kind of is. But these last two episodes, I am not joking when I say I have taken notes for these episodes. Like, if you've seen the last one, I took over around like 18 notes.
I thought it was 16 or something
Roughly around that kind of area. For this episode, I had to take a grand total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 notes.
So you have the legal amount of notes to drink.
Pretty much, yeah. And to put some perspective on this, about a good 80 to 90% of these notes are questions.
You ever notice that the title of this video has a little question mark on it? That's why.
Exactly. So anyway, let's start with the basic summary of what the plot is. If you don't know what Glitter Force is, please watch our previous episodes. That will be most kind. But if you want a little refresher, basically it's this group of little girls, roughly like in middle school, maybe a bit older, who discover through this magical like pixie thing that they are part of the Glitter Force, and they fight fairy tale like characters, but not really. I'll get more into that in a second. And they try to suck the joy and happiness out of the world and use it to feed their master, who is like trapped in this giant clock. I'll get more into that. Right, it does make sense in a second. And then after that, they transform into these kind of like Sailor Scouts, but we call them the Glitter Sluts because it's for comedy's sake. And then they fight these kind of like creatures that the fairy tale villain characters create by throwing like clown noses at inanimate objects. It's okay. I know what you're thinking. How could a show with that like simple of a summary possibly be strange?
George, I can't tell if you're giving them too much credit or not enough.
That's a good point, actually. Okay, so let's start with the basic summary of this episode. It starts out with Emily, Kelsey, and Lily. Hey, I remember the names for once.
Hey.
And they're at lunch, enjoying themselves, having this dish that Lily made, which looks like candy, their like pixie friend thing. I don't know why. And then this group of two other girls saying like, hey, that's our lunch spot. You need to get out of here. Oh, actually, before I get into this whole thing, there's a bit in the beginning where they were... do you want to bring up this one, or should I?
Tell me what the note says specifically.
The rabbit.
Let's collaborate on this. I'll start out.
Okay, first of all, there's one thing we thought, which was that she said you pull out this like rabbit charm thing, and I thought for a second it was gonna like turn into like some David Cronenberg like fly human hybrid thing.
Yeah.
But then it got worse than that. Now,
it kind of relates back to episode 2, I want to say.
Roughly, I forget that. As I think, established in that episode, this series has ships, like any kind of series does. One of the
more notable ones. We just said it as a joke in episode 1. Was Emily the main one that we followed, the pink-haired girl, and one of the villains, the big bad wolf of the series, named Ulrich. Now in episode 2, I distinctly remember like saying something akin to that of it was something along the lines of, now that I think about it, there's this goody goody two shoes girl, who's just wanting to bring, make the world a better place, and she's hanging out with this canine like animal like creature who's like being like, well, not hanging out, but sort of interacting with this canine who's very cynical and sort of like hates the world and shit like that. And I just went, so this is basically Wild Hops from Zootopia.
And you don't know what Wild Hops is. It's basically a ship between Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps from Zootopia.
Yeah.
It gets worse. Just trust us.
And the episode and the beginning of the episode, they're talking about using this hair movement thing, which is basically bunny ears. And
the way she describes it is bunny head.
Bunny head. Should we just start calling Emily carrots now?
Kind of. This is what we come to, people. We're making fellatio jokes about animated characters.
Both CGI characters and anime characters,
which have no relation to each other outside of one mention of one that relates to the other. And I'm not gonna sound okay. This might sound a bit odd, but the rabbit hair was kind of a bit phallic shaped. I don't have a screenshot of it because we were too busy like flabbergasted at the mere mention of that. So I do have screenshots though.
Oh, we have plenty. Did you take the one at the of Emily like towards the end, like during that fight scene?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay, all right.
So we will. After this whole thing happens, they enter lunch, and then April comes in, who you guessed it is Glitter Spring. Get it, April? It's a spring month.
We should bring up as well, like the two girls who are acting like super bitchy towards like Emily, Kelsey, and Lily. They have like normal colored hair.
Yeah, that was off-putting, and like then I started to realize like they're the only ones in the entire series that have like this kind of colored hair. Comparatively speaking to like something like Sailor Moon, where their only thing that changed when they were in Sailor Scouts, and what differentiated them was like their outfits, like different colored outfits, but their hair was kind of the same. That's not the case here. Like they have like pink, red, like really dark red, really bright yellow, and now like really kind of light-ish green. While it's like the other classmates have like brown, black hair, like that looks fairly like regular.
It's as if somebody took one look at Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, looked at the color-coded clothing that all the Power Rangers wore, and said, I don't think that's quite enough. That's too subtle.
Yeah, you're right. So after that, April comes in, helps them out.
Basically, and some random dude named Jared arrives.
That's okay. I know what you're thinking. Random guy named Jared comes up to a group of middle school girls and tells the other two to leave them alone as they're eating food, and then the two other girls that were bitching at them start to follow him. I know what you're thinking, and no, we're not going to go that route.
What route specifically?
Do you really want me to say that live publicly?
Are you referring to Jared from Subway?
No, I'm referring to Jared, the magical pixie that lives in my dumpster. Of course I'm referring to Jared from Subway.
Wait, do you have a magical pixie that lives in your dumpster?
Yeah, I've been trying to help him out for a while now.
Dude, man, I got one as well. Not that dumpster, though, this other dumpster.
Oh, okay, your room? Burn. Anyway, after that happens, I'm gonna X out Jared and on the notes X. And then, oh wait, something we forgot to mention was that there's a transition as Emily is leaving her house, and we cut to the ogre like troll thing again. And what he says is really odd. I forget exactly word for word what it was, but he was saying he was like soaking his shorts in something to make them like smell really bad and be really tight on him.
Oh yeah, really tight, very snug. Dude, that's perfect for going to see the Glitter Force or something like that. And I remember you and I just like went. Is he referring to
And then he starts to run and say like, "This is the perfect thing for the Glitter Force," and then
tight shorts for the Glitter Force? Oh, and he's a big guy too.
yeah, and then that made me to write the note, "Eyes wide shut like type Colt."
Well,
I'm not
look,
sure why. Sure why, but continue.
should we like bring up the whole thing about the sex cult?
We'll get to that later. Anyway, after that, Emily has to go find April and figure out where she is and tell her that she's part of the Glitter Force. Which brought up one interesting point. Well, now she's the one who tells them that they should just tell her, and
Kelsey, who's the one who said, why don't we just tell them what is going on? Is suddenly now like, what if she doesn't believe us? And we just stopped and went, what? You said last time, just tell them, and now you're just saying, no, don't do that.
consistency. What's that? Anyway, after that, continue.
Okay, so April. So April does like a soccer game, right?
Soccer, yes.
Remember this, folks.
You'd be surprised at how crucial this detail is.
Somehow, okay, and they couldn't end up reaching to her, so they couldn't talk to her about it. So Emily like moaning about it like later that night, like in her house.
Yeah.
Talking about and how tomorrow is not going to be school. There's not going to be school. It's the weekend. And then she was like, you know what? It's going to be a great day. I'm going to go out there and find her. And she immediately runs out, and it's daytime.
Here's the thing. Like, what confused us about this was the fact that it was clearly established that it was like nighttime, and she was wearing her pajamas. And throughout this whole sequence, like it lasts for like roughly 10 seconds, maybe a bit longer, she's constantly moving to different areas, and then after a while, she just says, "Hey, let's go find her," and then runs out, and now it's daytime. So, does that mean, like, sporadically, throughout like the entire night, she got up, said these specific lines, moved to these specific areas just to say them, and at like key hours for about roughly 6 or 8, maybe longer?
And I remember I made a joke, something along the lines of, her parents like overhearing her in the other room, and that just suddenly dawned on me. Where are their parents?
Yeah, that's a good question that I never noticed until you brought it up.
I mean, like with April's case in this episode, it is addressed like they're out on like a convention or something. But Emily, Kelsey, Lily, where are they? Who are they? Where's your mommy? Where's your daddy?
Yeah.
Are they living alone?
I'm not sure if it was established in the first episode, but I barely remember it. But anyway, after that, she says that she's going to go trying to find them, even though she doesn't know where they live. Do you want to bring up this point or not? It's the one about stalking.
About About what?
About her stalking the other members.
her stalking the other member.
Stalking.
Oh yeah. Okay. So like before it's addressed that she doesn't know where the other Glitter Force members are at. It's like she immediately just runs out there and she just kind of assumes like she'll be able to find them. And I was just kind of going, okay, so does she know where they are? And if so, is it like implied that she was stalking the other members in any way? And then it was later established like, oh, she doesn't know. Oh, okay. The only thing that she knew was that Kelsey told her that April lived in that neighborhood, which raises another question. I thought they all lived in the same neighborhood, or is it implied that that they like all commute to a school?
I'm not sure. Like, when you put it like that, it's like hard to really justify like the fact that this little girl is running around like with no parental supervision, like this kind of thing. I mean, granted, what she's already doing is pretty bad for like it's 12-year-old, maybe a bit younger, older. But yeah, that's a thing that happened. After that, she runs up to her neighborhood and says like that I knew if I wasn't told where she was. I just told she was in this specific neighborhood. So what's your plan then? Like, were you planning on like knocking on all of their doors and like asking if she's home?
I mean, wouldn't that make total perfect sense? Like, you just randomly walk up to some stranger's house and just ask if April's home.
I think I've done something similar. I just can't remember it. And anyway, after that, April turns out to be right behind her because convenience. And then it's brought across like a really odd detail I noticed. God, should I even bring this up?
Please do.
Whenever she sees one of these Glitter Force members, kind of, her eyes like shimmer, like that she's like really happy to see that she's part of the Glitter Force. This time it was different because in context alone, from April's perspective, it looks like she wants to come on to her, if you get what I'm saying. And then that's when I fought back to like what we said earlier in a previous episode about the lack of any like love interest in this series. So does that mean we're basically watching a TV show about underage lesbians fighting evil? How do you respond to that? Just saying.
Well, I've seen a lot of TV shows and movies, etc. in my time, so underage lesbians fighting evil is, I want to say, probably the 57th strangest concept I've heard in a long time.
I do not want to know the other 74.
Actually, I said 57th.
Okay, so. I do not want to know the other 57. It's 56. Anyway, let's
just say one of them involves a llama.
I do not want to know that one. Anyway, I got to X out another one. X out. X out. Again, these are just the basic questions we were asking. Now this sort of brings up another thing. From April's perspective of what she's about to say, like, I'm about to tell you about this whole thing. And the way her eyes shimmered and stuff, that made me think kind of that ties into my previous joke about like an eyes wide shut type cult thing.
Basically, we're starting to think that the Glitter Force is essentially a sex cult.
But the kind of premise comes a bit stranger when you take into the fact that we never see their parents. They always seem confused over the fact that they're suddenly in these uniforms. Very few people have take notice of these buffoons and these fairy tale creatures around. They're always wearing these really kind of I don't want to say skimpy. They're not skimpy outfits. They're really cutesy kind of playful outfits, and
A
hair
little
down just
skimpy.
a little bit, and then and now they're like part of this whole team, and they're being told by this kind of leader that they're on the course to save the world with only these 5 specific people, and they can't tell anyone else.
Do tell, George. What do you think?
Now, I am not implying that Glitter Force is essentially about a group of underage girls kind of on ecstasy while also exerting their own lustful thoughts about each other through this kind of power fantasy about fighting evil, but actually, no, that's exactly what I'm saying.
We're gonna get like a big email back by like the company who makes them makes Glitter Force, either saying no, that's completely wrong, or they're just gonna go, God fucking damn it, how did you figure it out?
If it's the full ladder, we have to show them.
Even if it says don't show them?
Exactly. Anyway, as to be expected, it turns out like April, Emily can't tell April because there's a group of family. She has her own family there of like brothers and sisters, and their parents are out. And so after that, they enter a field, play a little bit, and then for some ungodly reason, the troll is just hovering above them and waits till they just stand there, like saying, like, "Hey, we're gonna be playing." Then he gives this monologue about how playtime is over and stuff. So that made me wonder, like, was he just hovering in the air, waiting for them to say that specific line so he could go into that monologue? Did he have like prepared or something?
Yes, you gotta be extra prepared. Also, Kelsey and Lily join in the scene.
Of course they do. Now this actually brings up to another thing I noticed. So how the villain works is that they have a book, they splatter some ink on it, and that causes the people to be unhappy. Now here's something I never noticed until now. How little the Glitter Force are doing to actually help. Because every time he does this, or one of these monsters does this thing, the clock in which their Grandmaster is being held captive, one of the hands always turns over, meaning that it's activating, like it's starting to power up. So, if that's the case, what is stopping these villains from just like scattering into different areas and pressing down and splattering ink on books like at the same time and causing the clock to just get to that point?
Look, I said before, the villain, No-Go, was that it?
I think so.
Yeah, No-Go. See, before he was in prison, he had like a bunch of budget cuts. So he had only like a handful of minions left. So he really could only do so much, like in regards to like getting all this negative energy.
True, but what's stopping him to like going to like just getting his minions down in like New Jersey or something and have them splattering ink books all over the city? Like, there's a lot of negative energy to get down there.
Well, yeah.
Like the entire state currently.
Fuck, just see the entire United States of America while you're at it. I mean, I think we all have it by this point.
Yeah. Just to be safe, please do not put your political views in the comments. We're here to talk about a show about little girls fighting monsters and wearing these kind of things.
And possibly being lesbians.
Anyway, after that...
Although I must say as well, you also said, well, why not just have them like go out on different days? And I'm just like, dude, these evil monsters, like evil soldiers and No-Go, they have their own personal lives, man.
And also they have their own families because...
Oh, yeah, let's... Should we talk about this now or should we wait?
I think we should do it like later. Anyway, after that, Lily, they do over the quarter of transformation, of course. And then it goes on a bit longer because there's 3 of them now. I think it was like, what, 2 minutes now? 1?
Something along those lines. Although they did actually like speed up like like they have all three do the glitter force activate something a glitter force makeover all at once.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful. There was something interesting that Jacob pointed out about Lily in terms of what her hair turns into when she's in the glitter force.
It turns into bananas.
And so that made me wonder what, like, should she just, we call her just now Banana Piece every time she turns into this now?
I would just say glitter bananas.
That works too. Now this brings up an interesting thing, because after she gives her monologue about how she loves puppies and kittens and I'm Glitter Piece, the troll acknowledges that she said this. So does that mean he literally is just standing there watching them transform and hearing their individual speeches about what they are?
Yes, you not see logic?
Not really, because what's stopping him from just pummeling the shit out of them as they're doing this?
Oh, you know what? There was actually a very good, in-depth, very detailed explanation for this.
Does it start with an S?
Yes, and it ends with an "hut up."
God fucking damn it. Anyway, after that, he then does what you usually do in the episode, and which is throw a buffoon nose at something. This time, it was at a soccer net. Now, up to this point, the buffoon transformations, we have had a brick wall, a volleyball, and what was last week?
A crumpled up piece of paper.
And it turned into like this superhero thing. Okay, the last one was kind of out there, but
it was a little bit of a stretch, but I could see it because it was like the superhero was on the paper.
Now, this is what we got for this week. Give me a second.
Befool.
Now, let's just take this all in real quick.
Here I come to save the day.
First of all, it's a soccer net, and it's a bat now. How is it flying?
To which I said, does it look like it has holes?
To which I then discovered this. Oh, wait, no, I don't think we took a picture of it. Oh, shit. But anyway, we then saw in the next shot that it clearly does have holes. So what is it using to fly? Like just
magic.
Oh, that makes sense. Now, where does the base of this thing come from?
It was a cannon, duh.
Okay, but it wasn't shooting soccer balls. It was clearly like shooting like baseballs or something. So
like that actually raises that raises another question as well, because most of the episode the sport has been like soccer, but with Brute he's been doing like a bunch of baseball analogies. So I'm kind of wondering, like, Glitter Force, are you mixing up your sports?
That's a good point, actually.
I get it, you know, logic and whatnot is kind of a little bit out of your reach, but still, you can.
Anyway, after that, we brought up a little thing. This is just a running joke we have among each other. For those who aren't familiar with this joke, you have to see this movie. This really special movie that I showed Jacob last night.
Oh, yes.
Do you want to talk about this, or should I?
You ever seen the movie 9 Lives?
With Kevin Spacey and Christopher Walken?
Where Kevin Spacey turns into a cat named Mr. Fuzzy Pants.
And so we thought it was a brilliant idea to have Mr. Fuzzy Pants be a member of the Glitter Force. It was, but it's still like Kevin Spacey's voice coming out of like it.
Yeah, we have no lives, people. Save us.
I watched 9 Lives like 3 times this month. That's not an exaggeration. I have legitimately watched that movie 3 times.
Save his poor soul.
Anyway, after that, the buffoon starts shooting at the kids, which is kind of dark when you think about it, because it's just like running towards them and like shooting like live ammunition, kind of that would like damage. Like they're not like older kids; they're like really young, so it's pretty much putting them in really bad harm. So after that,
And then Kels,
April.
April gets out of the funk.
Yeah. And then after that, she then transforms into Glitter Spring.
And then there's a bit where
Actually, I'm going to show the picture of what her first reaction was upon seeing the buffoon. Just,
I think context is no longer needed.
let's just drink this all in.
She's looking at the monster and going, "What's going on?"
This giant bat creature holding her friend in a ball made out of a soccer net, and a troll standing there with a giant club. All her friends are dressed in like skimpy superhero outfits in the middle of a field, in the middle of the like broad dusk. And her response is, "Emily, what's going on?"
Well, you say. I remember like we were talking about this, like maybe like somebody should do it like a gag dub of Glitter Force, and instead of going, "What's going on?" she's going, "What the fuck?"
Or you splice in the audio clip from Nine Lives of Kevin Spacey going, "Seriously?" How much you want to bet if we look it up, we'll actually find that sound clip? It's just like something they just have on standby. Because, fun story about Nine Lives, they reuse that same voice clip with no difference at all.
Yeah, that they do legitimately do that, folks.
But then after that, they fight, of course, and enter like a whole thing. And then like the thing starts commenting about like family. And then he mentions something really odd. He says like,
yeah, it was something along the lines of, "Family is just a big pain in the neck. I don't even talk to mine, except for my uncle, but he owes me money." And I think that was supposed to be just a funny joke, but then that suddenly dawned on me. So these evil monsters from like this magical fairy tale realm have extended families?
and have money and know the idea of like loans and holding on to money. People, we are two young adults trying to break down logic and reason into a fucking show called Glitter Force in the middle of the night.
And you got something involving a job. Don't show it.
I'm not showing it. This is just a handbook they gave me in order to read to get the job and get a good understanding of what I had to do. I had to come in on Tuesday to get my orientation. And this is what I'm doing with my life instead of reading it.
You're so not going to get the job.
I already got the job. This is just training for the job.
You are so going to get fired before you even start the job.
But you know what? It's going to be totally worth it.
Yeah, man. You know, you're doing Glitter Force.
Yeah, and one thing that April points out as she transforms is spring has sprung. And you know what else? Just say it.
It's not the only thing that has sprung.
Who's 20?
I'm 20. In a few months, we'll be 21.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, after that, She then discovers that she has the power of super speed, and then after that, as she was running towards the buffoon to befriend her friend, she enters a ton of like runs around the world too fast and ends up crossing over with Barry Allen as he's going to try to save his mother, and then like the two clash together and cause like a whole paradox. And then when Lily comes back, all of a sudden like the Glitter Force are part of this kind of like aggressive like force of nature all of a sudden. And like Ulrich is like the dominant of like the entire world, and now that she's got to cope with the idea of like how she's gonna get back here and finding her old friends is like homeless, beaten down, and like
Emily is Ulrich's sex slave.
Exactly, used as sex slaves. You know, it really shows you how little my faith is in this show that I would actually buy this actually happening.
Oh, no, it doesn't happen. She does crash into a wall, though.
Yeah.
Managing to survive, oddly enough.
Yeah, surprisingly. Also, her hair and the way like really bright colored green, and the way Candy says like "yep yep," made Jacob think that this was going to be a crossover of breadwinners at some point.
Yay! I was gonna say yeah, but I think that was a regular show. A much better show.
And you happen to have a poster of it right behind you.
Oh, yep.
So yeah, after that they fight the buffoon. It ends and Lottie fucking die. We get a music video. Have we actually talked about the music video yet?
I think we have like once before.
Okay, so
twice.
Okay, so if you don't know, each episode ends with this little like CGI kind of character animated music video of all the Glitter Force members just dancing around and singing this kind of upbeat like J-pop kind of song. So yeah, that was the fourth episode of Glitter Force. Oh my god, what am I doing with my life?
You are watching Glitter Force.
Yes, I am.
I honestly, I don't see what the problem here is, George.
Me neither, honestly, because
it's one of those shows that you do honestly have to see to believe.
I'm genuinely enjoying this just for some bizarre reason. Like again, I described it as like a perfect time killer and like a stress reliever after all the shit I've been dealing with so far.
This is something that, if it got a movie, I could definitely see Alamo Drafthouse releasing.
I could see that happening too.
It seems like right up their alley. Like they would have it like with like a triple feature with like Miami Connection and Dangerous Men. No, I'm not. It's not. It's not that bad, but let's be real. It's not very good, but it's kind of silly in its own little way.
Yeah, it's harmless. It's really not like that like offensive. It's even like the stuff we've been like making fun of is not like that. It's just stuff we're just picking apart just for the sake of like our overactive imaginations of what's going on. It's just a simple kids show, is all.
It's goofy. It's fun. We're having a fun time with it. It wants us to have a fun time, and god damn it, it is succeeding with it.
Just make sure not to think about it too much, otherwise you dive into lesbian underage sex cults. I've been doing this show for 2 years now, and not once in my entire time doing this show did I ever think I would have to utter the words underage lesbian sex cult about a show called Glitter Force and have it make sense within the context of that very sentence.
I kind of wonder, could we find the actresses of Glitter Force like on social media?
That is a very good question. In fact, a little context for you guys, our noble fans who happen to be watching this show. If you happen to know any means of contacting any of the actresses of the show, or hell, even the creators, please send them the playlist of me and Jacob talking about this show.
Oh my god! I just realized something about one of them.
What?
Oh my god! Okay. This. If anybody's ever seen the shows Fullmetal Alchemist, Soul Eater, Dragon Ball Z,
I am
among
not liking
others.
it. It's going it.
Emily is voiced by Laura Bailey. Would you like me to list off some of the things?
Sure.
Okay, Maka Allburn in Soul Eater, Kid Trunks in Dragon Ball Z, Lust in Fullmetal Alchemist, Shin-Chan, Chun-Li in the Street Fighter series, like in the newer Street Fighter games, Rain in Blood Rain, Blaze the Cat in Sonic the Hedgehog, Olympia Vale in Halo 5, some of the Uncharted games as well. Okay, hang on. I got a better idea.
What the fuck is this chick doing in Glitter Force?
She was she's in she's Black Widow in Avengers Assemble and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, that makes sense now.
She was in Regular Show.
Oh, so now it comes full circle.
It comes full circle. We need somebody needs to tweet it. Okay. I feel like one of us needs to tweet the link to this this video to her. See what she says about it. Like she's probably just gonna go, what?
Oh my god. I do not want to be the one to do that. So if any of you guys want to do that, just please do us a favor and send this or the entire playlist. Do what you want. And see what the response is. And if she does respond, we'll actually talk about it on the next episode when we talk about the show.
Maybe we can get her on for an interview or something. See what she thinks about it.
If that actually happens, I don't even know what I'll do.
Actually, I'm just noticing some of them are some of the other actresses I can notice already. Wait a minute. Wait a damn minute.
Oh my god, what did you find out?
Okay, I think I said before, Candy sounds like a few among other things, Zatch from Zatch Bell.
Don't tell me.
Same actress.
Oh my god!
Who happens to also be the same actress who voiced Jimmy Neutron.
You cannot be serious.
I am
be serious.
I am serious. You can look this up. It is real. There are other actresses here I know as well, like Keith Silverstein, Todd Abercorn, Colleen. Oh Christ! I always forget. I was Shaughnessy. There's some actually well-known actresses here. What the fuck are they doing in this thing? Does the sex cult thing expand further beyond the actual show and they're actually blackmailed into this? Okay.
I think we should stop this before we end up getting arrested or
this is okay. Okay. In case we somehow get roped up into the Church of Scientology, this has been another episode of Master Bingers. I'm Jacob. That was George.
Hope to see you next time. Emphasis on the word hope. You got something to say, Ed?
And in case somehow you don't find us, be sure to check under bridges and dark alleyways in between. Where do you live?
East Hampton currently.
East Hampton and New Braunfels. Just either one of those places. Just double check. You might see a bloodied up body of a slightly overweight brown-haired dude and moderately high ginger.
Thanks, Jacob. That's really. Ah, fuck. Anyway,
Well,
I think that was enough. I think that was enough for Master Bingers tonight. See you next week, hopefully. Puppies and rainbows, help us now. Glitter peace.
We're fucked.